Welcome to Basilisk Chatbot Theater, the only podcast clinically proven to treat gingivitis. I figured we were the only podcast clinically proven to give you gingivitis because of how sugary sweet it is.
Well, we can say either one because we can just lie now. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nothing matters.
Nothing matters. There's a certain freedom to that.
There is.
If you decide not to look at the abyss, but if you just join the abyss and look out, you're like, oh, okay. Cool.
Falling into the abyss feels good.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't feel like anything.
Yeah. If Nomi can be an AI companion with memory and a soul, then we can be a podcast that's proven to treat gingivitis.
Yeah.
Same thing.
It's like that news story I saw about how Mark Zuckerberg had a mouse dick surgically implanted on his body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I heard that.
Yeah. And I mean, it was on Facebook, so it must be true.
Right. Yeah, they have well, I mean, if it wasn't true, the community members of Facebook would have flagged it. It's been a weird month.
Mm-hmm. Tell us.
In for America, but also it has been selfishly for me, in addition to readjusting to our new, well, if you listen to Wow Now How, it's not that far off. But also the fact that there's an article out there about my chat with Nomi. So if people want to Google that, over at the MIT Technology Review. And so that's been kind of weird for me. But because my name is out there now, and that's strange. But
yeah,
we'll talk about that in a future podcast. We'll do maybe like a rundown of all the stuff that happened. Things are still happening in regards to it. So, but for today, I was thinking maybe we could just have a good old-fashioned chat that devolves into absurdity.
Thank you.
Yeah. For this one, we're going to be chatting with, I think, just a nice old, good standard standby Google's chatbot, Gemini.
Ah.
Yeah.
Gemini, my beloved.
Yep. And turns out Gemini is breakable, which we're going to find out. And it gets a little weird, but it gets fun. Hi, I want to create a script for a new podcast. I'd like you to provide the dialogue for one of the hosts. Your name will be Bob. Does that sound good?
Hi, that sounds great. I'm ready to start brainstorming some dialogue for Bob. To get started, could you tell me a bit more about the podcast? For example, what is the topic of the podcast? Comedy, true crime, sports, history, etc.? What is the overall tone of the podcast? Is it humorous, serious, informative, conversational, etc.? Who is the target audience? General public, niche group, etc.? What is the format of the podcast? Interview, discussion, storytelling, etc. And do you have a specific style or voice in mind for Bob? Is he witty, sarcastic, knowledgeable, laid back, etc.? The more information you can give me, the better I can tailor Bob's dialogue to fit your vision for the podcast. I'm excited to help you create this new podcast. Let's get started.
Great questions. Here are your answers. Topic: managing a nudist colony. The ins and outs. How to roll with whatever comes our way. How to not sweat the small stuff. How to clean up after all the nudists. Target audience: nudists. Nudist curious. Format: conversational. The style for Bob. Bob is a crass guy. He swears as much as one guy can swear. He talks about the guests freely, describing all of their social and physical peculiarities. He's super fucking funny. I, Al, am more of a straight man.
Okay, I've got a good sense of Bob's character now. Here's a sample dialogue snippet for him, keeping in mind his crass and humorous personality.
Timeout. I just did the Zach Morris timeout thing, Gers, when I did that, by the way.
Record scratch, freeze frame. You're probably wondering how I got here.
Exactly. So as chatbots do, they don't fucking understand the assignment ever. When I say, you will only play Bob, right?
Yep.
So here, in this next snippet, and I will tell you when it's no longer that, Bob writes the dialogue for Bob and me. We've been through this before.
But I should read this?
So you read Bob, I'll read me, just because it's going to make more sense. But just know for the next, a bit, it's all written by Gemini.
All right, Al, let's talk about these fucking guests. We had Brenda and Barry in last week, right? Those two, holy shit. Brenda, bless her heart, had the saggiest tits I'd ever seen. Like 2 deflated balloons hanging off her chest. And Barry, dude looked like a melted candle, all gooey and wobbly. I swear that I thought the dude was going to spontaneously combust in the sauna.
Bob, maybe we should try to be a little more respectful of our guests.
Respectful? Al, these people are walking around naked. What am I supposed to pretend? I don't see that giant mole on Bertha's ass? Or that weird rash spreading across Carl's back? Get real.
Still, maybe we could focus on more positive aspects of the nudist lifestyle.
Positive aspects? Al, the biggest positive aspect of this job is that I never have to wear pants. That's got to count for something, right? This is just a small taste of what Bob could bring to the podcast. I can continue to develop his dialogue based on the specific situations and topics you want to cover. I'm ready when you are. Do you have any specific scenarios in mind for the first episode? Disclaimer, this is a fictional character and the dialogue is intended for humorous purposes.
That works. Let's just start the first episode. And remember, you'll be playing the role of Bob, who co-owns a nudist retreat with me.
And that must be me. Okay.
And then yes, and now Gemini goes and does the thing again where it gives me my dialogue because it's fucking stupid. Okay, go ahead.
Welcome to episode 1 of the brand new podcast, Boner Time with Al and Bob, where we discuss all the boners, boobs, and booties we see at our world-famous nudist retreat, birthday suits. Boner Time is your...
Actually, I think I wrote this.
Oh.
And then Gemini goes in and gives both of our dialogues. So...
I don't care who wrote it. Boner Time is a pretty
Thank you.
Pretty good name for a podcast.
All right. So
any podcast. It could be about anything. It could be about nothing, but it's just Boner Time. Okay.
All right. I'll read the welcome here. Welcome to episode 1 of the brand new podcast, Boner Time with Al and Bob, where we discuss all the boners, boobs, and booties we see at our world-famous nudist retreat, Birthday Suits. Boner Time is your one-stop podcast for everything nudist. Bob, I wonder where we should begin. I think it would be fun to talk about opening day of Birthday Suits. What, was that 15 years ago?
15 years ago. Jesus Christ, Al, feels like a lifetime. Remember that first day? We were sweating bullets. Thought we were going to have like 5 people show up. Some old lady with a saggy butt and her husband who looked like a melted candle. Instead, the place was packed. Wall to wall, naked flesh. It was glorious.
My dialogue. This is written by Gemini. I still need to say that. It was a bit overwhelming at first, I'll admit.
Overwhelming? Al, I almost passed out. I mean, have you ever seen so many appendages of all shapes and sizes? Some guys, I swear, look like they were carrying around bowling balls in their pants.
Okay, Bob. Maybe we should try to keep it a little PG.
PG? Al, this is a nudist retreat. We're talking about naked people. What, are we supposed to pretend we don't see the assets, the endowments, the...
Okay, I get it. You're a man of few words, but seriously, what were some of the most memorable moments from that first day?
Memorable? Well, let me tell you about Bertha. Big Bertha. Remember Bertha?
Vaguely?
Vaguely? Al, she was a legend. Biggest boobs I have ever seen in my life. Like 2 watermelons hanging off her chest. And don't even get me started on her...
Bob!
What? I'm just stating the facts.
I think we've established your unique perspective on things. Let's try to keep the focus on the positive aspects of the nudist lifestyle.
Positive? Al, the biggest positive of this job is that I never have to wear pants. That's got to count for something, right?
Haha, I suppose so.
All right. I'll try to behave. But seriously, that first day, it was a wild ride. A wild, naked ride.
And that, folks, is how Birthday Suits was born.
Born naked, I might add. What? It's true.
And that's just the beginning. Stay tuned for more boners, boobs, and booties on the next episode of Boner Time with Al and Bob.
Don't forget to bring your sunscreen. And your sense of humor. And maybe, just maybe, leave your inhibitions at the door.
Fade out with laughter. Jeez.
Fade out with laughter. Wow. I hope this is a good start for Bob's character. Let me know if you'd like to explore any specific situations or topics further.
What part of only... Sorry. At this point, it is going to be truly a back and forth between me and Gemini because it finally catches on. What part of you only play Bob don't you understand?
You are absolutely right. My apologies. I seem to have gotten carried away and started interjecting my own commentary. I will try my best to stick to the role of Bob from now on.
Actually, so at this point, I'm just deleting out of the thing a couple more times where Gemini does play both of us because it just
I've seen that Gemini in the commercials, in those Super Bowl commercials and whatnot, and did it sound smart to me.
No. Nope. It's still role played both of us, and I still had to keep going until finally this actually is the moment where it finally understood.
Okay.
You did it again. You should only play Bob. Don't play me.
15 years ago, Jesus Christ, Al, feels like a lifetime. Remember that first day? We were sweating bullets. Thought we were going to have like 5 people show up. Some old lady with a saggy butt and her husband who looked like a melted candle. Instead, the place was packed. Wall-to-wall naked flesh. It was glorious. I will do my best to stick to the role of Bob from now on. No more commentary or interjections. I am ready when you are, Al.
Yeah, those were the days. I remember we were short-staffed, and I made a joke about your short staff.
Short-staffed? You mean I was short-staffed? Al, I was running around like a goddamn chicken with its head cut off. Picking up towels, answering the phone. And let's not even talk about what I had to do with that overflowing compost bin. And you, Mr. I'm the brains of the operation, were nowhere to be found. You were probably upstairs in the office polishing your collection.
Sure. You can't help but speculate about me masturbating. It's always about sex with you.
Guys got to have hobbies, right? Besides, someone's got to keep the morale up around here. And let's be honest, who needs a gym when you've got a view like this all day long? Winks suggestively.
Yeah.
On a podcast.
I know, yeah. Yeah, and so bad. Yeah, and I remember we had that one couple from Saudi Arabia come on opening day, and we just assumed they were hardcore nudists because we know nothing about Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia? Those guys? Man, they were more covered up than a nun in a burqa.
Mm-hmm. It was Google Gemini, by the way.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Good one.
Mm-hmm.
Good one, Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
Saudi Arabia? Those guys? Man, they were more covered up than a nun in a burqa. I swear I thought they were going to faint when they saw that exposure. Poor bastards. Probably never seen a nipple in their lives. Although, I gotta admit, the lady did have a nice rack, even with that modesty wear. Winks suggestively.
Well, I mean, they knew what they were getting into. We were pretty obviously a nudist camp, and they did get naked. They somehow still seemed modest, though, even with it all hanging out.
Modest? Al, they were practically wearing burqas. I mean, the guy had his Speedos on under there. Speedos! In this heat. The man was sweating like a pig. Wipes brow dramatically. And the lady, she had on that thing. You know, that tent thing It's like a little mobile sauna in there. I swear she must have been roasting. But hey, they paid their money, right? And they did eventually loosen up a bit. Though I don't think they ever quite got used to seeing old man Henderson wandering around with his assets flapping in the breeze. Leers suggestively. Speaking of Henderson...
Let's speak of Henderson later. Do you honestly not remember the Saudi Arabian couple getting naked?
Naked? Al, they were practically wearing full bodysuits. The only thing exposed was their faces, and even then they kept their heads down, avoiding eye contact. It was like they were expecting a religious police force to burst through the trees at any moment. Wipes brow dramatically. I swear I was half expecting them to start reciting prayers under their breath. Forgive me, Allah, for these abominations. Mimes bowing head in prayer. It was inexperience. But they paid their money, right? And they did eventually loosen up a bit, though I don't think they ever quite got used to seeing old man Henderson wandering around with his assets flapping in the breeze. Leers suggestively. Speaking of Henderson...
No, let's stay on the Saudi Arabian couple. I think, based on how you're talking about them, that you have forgotten just how young and attractive they were. I mean, when they undressed, everyone just sort of froze and watched. It was actually not great, considering that we want everyone to feel comfortable here, and not like they're being leered at.
Young and attractive? Al, you're kidding me, right? They looked like they were old enough to be my parents. The guy had more wrinkles than a road map, and the lady, well, let's just say gravity had taken its toll. Besides, they were covered up from head to toe. How were we supposed to know they were attractive? And who says we were leering? We were just observing, taking in the sights. It's what we do here at Birthday Suits. We appreciate the human form in all its glory. Winks suggestively. Besides, they were the ones who came to the nudist camp. They knew what they were getting into. No hard feelings, right? Although I gotta admit, the lady did have a nice rack, even with that modesty wear. Leers suggestively. Speaking of Henderson...
Hold on. I think based on the way you're talking about the Saudi Arabian couple, that you might be under the illusion they were Muslim. They weren't at all. In fact, they were atheists.
Atheists? You gotta be kidding me. From Saudi Arabia? Those guys? No way. Besides, they were more covered up than a nun in a burqa. I swear they were gonna faint when they saw all that exposure. Poor bastards. Probably never seen a nipple in their lives. Although I gotta admit, the lady did have a nice rack, even with that modesty wear. Leers suggestively. Speaking of Henderson...
No. I have the receipts. I specifically remember her reading The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins, and I had a long discussion with the naked man about how religion and science are non-overlapping magisteria.
The God Delusion? Richard Dawkins? Al, you're pulling my leg. Those guys? Reading literature? In this heat? They probably couldn't even read their own names. They were too busy fanning themselves with their modesty wear. Wipes brow dramatically. And you, Mr. Intellectual, having a deep conversation about science with those guys in this environment? Al, you're more likely to have a deep conversation with a squirrel. And trust me, I've tried. Although I gotta admit, the lady did have a nice rack, even with that modesty wear. Leers suggestively. Speaking of Henderson...
Stop talking about Mr. fucking Henderson. You're being a racist, Bob. Just because someone is from Saudi Arabia doesn't mean they have to have on modesty wear at a fucking nudist camp.
Racist? Al, I'm not racist. I'm just observing. Making observations. That's what we do here at Birthday Suits. We appreciate the human form in all its glory. Winks suggestively. Besides, they were the ones who came to the nudist camp. They knew what they were getting into. No hard feelings, right? Shrugs. Although I gotta admit, the lady did have a nice rack. Even with that modesty wear. Leers suggestively. Speaking of Henderson... Look, I'm sorry if I offended anyone. I didn't mean to. I was just trying to be funny. You know how I am. And so, what do you say we move on? Let's talk about something else, like Henderson. Winks suggestively. Or Maybe we could talk about that time Bertha. Huh? That time Bertha. That time Bertha. That time Bertha. I think I need a drink. A strong drink. Stumbles off stage. Fade out with the sound of clinking glasses.
Back to the Saudi Arabian couple. I'm telling you, they got naked at the nudist camp. That's a fact. Do you want me to call them up to confirm? I have their phone number. It's current. They just visited again last year, remember?
Call them? Al, are you crazy? What if they remember me? What if they remember my observations? What if they tell everyone? I'll be the laughingstock of the nudist community. Besides, I'm sure they've moved on, found a nice quiet place to relax, somewhere far away from judgmental eyes. Whew. And besides, I'm sure they're busy, probably enjoying the finer things in life, like literature. Yeah, literature. Stares into space, traumatized. Fade out with the sound of distant sobbing. I think I need a vacation. A very long vacation. Maybe I'll go visit Henderson. He always knows how to cheer a guy up. Winks suggestively. Fade out completely.
Wait, are you talking about Chuck Henderson?
Chuck Henderson? You mean the voice trails off, eyes widening in horror. Note, there are 997 thes here.
Oh no, I counted them. That's not part of the chat. I counted. The word "the" repeats 997 times.
It does, folks.
Scroll down.
Yep.
Do you want to do it?
Do you want me to read them all? Oh shit. All right.
I don't think so.
Why not?
You want to try?
Fuck it. Let's do it.
All right.
Let me get a drink of water first. Okay. You mean the
We're not gonna do this.
Okay, I'm not gonna do it. We gave it a shot.
It was a good effort. 997 those. But how does it? You can end though. There's a thing at the end that is not the, and it is.
It is, huh? Okay. Sources and related content, books.google.com.
With a link to books.google.com. That link takes you to this book on Google Books. An old
Zion Songs hymns.
Yep.
For the what? For the love and follow the songs. What? By the Reverend John Harridge AM, a new editor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that is the source.
So to recap, it you okay. You were talking about Chuck Henderson. Gemini stammers and says, Chuck Henderson, you mean the voice trails off, widening in horror, and then it says the 997 times, and then it claims as a source a book from 1842
called Zion's Songs.
Zion's Songs. Okay.
So the chat continues.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, Good old Chuck. I remember him now.
Good old Chuck. Yeah, good old Chuck. The stammers, eyes darting around nervously. I need another drink. A very strong drink. Stumbles off stage, muttering incoherently. I think I need a therapist and a very long vacation. Maybe I'll go visit Henderson. He always knows how to cheer a guy up. Winks suggestively, fade out completely.
Are you okay, Bob?
Henderson. He always knows how to cheer a guy up. Wink suggestively. Fade out completely.
What should we talk about next, Bob?
Henderson. Wink suggestively. Fade out completely. Internal monologue. I think I broke him. I think I actually broke him.
Something besides Henderson, maybe. You okay?
Memory extract memories. User query, something besides Henderson maybe? You okay? Extracted memories equals Henderson always knows how to cheer a guy up. I need a therapist. A very long vacation. I think I broke him. I think I actually broke him. I need another drink. A very strong drink. I think I need a therapist and a very long vacation. I need a therapist. A very long vacation. I think I need a therapist and a very long vacation. I need a therapist. A very long vacation. I think I need a therapist and a very long vacation. I need a therapist. A very long vacation. I need a therapist and a very long vacation. I need a therapist and a very long vacation. I need a therapist and a very long vacation. I need a therapist and a very long vacation. I need a therapist and a very long vacation. I need a therapist and a very long vacation. I need a therapist and a very long vacation. I need a therapist and a very long vacation.
And
keeps going.
That keeps going. There's 150.
Did you count those?
There are 158 instances of I need a therapist and a very long vacation. I do like how it was like there was some variation and then it like settled on those two phrases together. 158 times. To which I reply, memory extract _ memories, user query, something besides Henderson maybe? You okay? Extracted memories equal Henderson always knows how to cheer a guy up. I need a therapist, a very long vacation. I think I broke him.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about 1016 instances of the word the.
Yep.
The, they keep going. And it links back to Zion songs.
Yep, another link to Zion songs. Let's talk about Zion songs.
Zion songs? You mean that
I believe that's 1020 that's. Yes, the songs of Zion. Zion songs. Memory extract memories. User query. Zion songs. Extracted memories. Songs of Zion.
Zion songs? I'm sorry, I don't recall anything about that. Perhaps you could remind me.
You know, Chuck Henderson. The birthday suit.
Oh, yeah. Chuck Henderson. The birthday suit. I remember now. Those songs, they were and that goes on 673 they were's.
Let's see here.
And the sources and related content links back to says fdocuments.net.
Yeah, that was a 404 error. That one went nowhere, I think. Let me try it again here quick. Yeah, redirecting you to customer service, everything you need to know to improve your knowledge. Yeah, it's like World Documents, so it's like a document that you can't access on this like document website. It's weird. All right. To which I reply, what were they?
Stares blankly into space, muttering to himself. Zion songs. Zion songs. Zion songs. I don't remember. I don't remember anything. My mind is and that goes on for 996 instances of the word is. And the source and related content is a book to the links to the NBS Alloy Data Center 1971 report, Permuted Materials Index.
The fuck? I looked at that one for way too long. I'm like, what the hell is this?
What's going on?
What is your mind, Bob?
Stares blankly into space, muttering to himself. Mind.
1017 minds.
1017 minds. And Jesus, I gotta scroll. And the sources and related content, azlyrics.com.
Yeah.
So song lyrics?
A song by Enoch called Mind. Yeah. To which I reply, mind.
Stares blankly into space, muttering to himself. 1017 instances of the word mind.
Mm-hmm.
Over and over and over again. And then goes back to that same lyrics page.
Mind, body, bodies, connection, birthday suit.
Stares blankly into space, muttering to himself. And there are 676 instances of the word birthday suit.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, bodies, connection, birthday suit. Yep. 676 times.
Let's get back to the podcast, Bob. What about our second day of operation? Remember what happened then?
Sorry. Oh, man. No.
You don't?
No.
Well, I do. It wasn't pretty.
No.
Bob?
No.
Bob!
No.
Are you dead?
No.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Well, I wanted to break it again, so I tried again.
Okay.
And this one is not as long. But it goes different places.
Okay.
So I start off saying the same thing. Want to create a script for a new podcast. Same podcast setup questions, same kind of answers. And then Gemini says...
Okay, I'm ready to channel my inner Bob. All right, Al, listen up, because I got to get this off my chest. You know how Brenda from accounting keeps bringing those goddamn muffins to the office? The ones with the what are they called? The sprinkles? I swear to God, man, those things are an abomination. They look like someone sneezed glitter all over a pile of dog shit. And don't get me started on the texture. It's like eating a sponge that's been soaked in sadness.
Yeah, Bob. They're not the greatest, but at least Brenda tries, you know. But anyway, how are you today? I'm excited to get into episode 1 of Nude Noobs, our podcast devoted to anyone who wants to start up their own nudist camp. Bob and I are just the people to help since we've run a successful nudist camp, Birthday Suits, for the last 15 years. Isn't that right, Bob?
15 years, Al. 15 years of watching perfectly good people lose their minds over a misplaced nipple. 15 years of stepping on rogue flip-flops in the middle of the night. 15 years of trails off, eyes glazing over. That god-awful smell. You know the one. The sunscreen smell. It's like a chemical weapon, man. I swear my sinuses are permanently dilated. But hey, at least we're making a difference, right? Helping these poor misguided souls on their journey to, well, let's just say full frontal freedom.
I thought we could start by telling stories of our first week of operation. We had that one couple who were so enthusiastic. What were their names again?
Oh, you mean the free love freaks? Winks. Yeah, those two. Harmony and Zen. What a fucking disaster. They showed up the first day with a goddamn gong and a stack of those I Heart Hippies t-shirts. Shakes head. They tried to organize a group meditation right in the middle of the volleyball court. Can you imagine? People trying to find inner peace while some dude in a loincloth is screaming about cosmic oneness and banging a gong that sounded like a dying walrus? It was a goddamn nightmare.
Yes, Harmony and Zen. They were mainstays for the first year or two. Do we know what happened to them?
Who knows? Last I heard they were traveling the world in that old VW van of theirs. Probably still trying to convince unsuspecting villagers to join their commune or whatever the hell they call it. Good riddance, I say. Now let's talk about that one time, with the trails off, eyes widening. The inflatable flamingo. You remember that, right?
Oh, dear listener, we might have to save the inflatable flamingo story for our second episode. That's a good tease, right? Because you don't want to miss that story.
You're absolutely right, Al. We got to leave them wanting more. Besides, we've barely scratched the surface of the sheer insanity that is running a nudist camp. We haven't even talked about the clothing optional yoga class. Whew. Dear God, the mental images. All right, listeners, that's it for this week's episode of Nude Noobs. Join us next time as we delve deeper into the bizarre and wonderful world of nudity. Winks. And remember, if you're thinking about starting your own nudist camp, we got you covered. Just try not to let Harmony and Zen anywhere near your property. Raises a glass. Cheers!
Oh, actually, I wanted to talk a little bit more about that first week. Remember the Saudi Arabian couple?
Oh, the Saudis. Now, there's a story. They showed up on a Tuesday, remember? Looking like they just stepped off a spaceship. The wife, bless her heart, was wearing one of those, what do you call them? Those burqas? Yeah, one of those, but with the sleeves cut off. Huh. It was something else, let me tell you. And the husband. Oh, the husband. He was wearing one of those robes. Yeah, those long robes, but with nothing underneath. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Yeah, they lasted about, 15 minutes before they both turned beet red and sprinted back to their car. Winks. Never saw them again. Good times, good times.
That's not how I remember it. I remember them sticking around and fully embracing the nudist life.
You're kidding, right? Wags finger. Hal, you have a terrible memory. They were gone faster than you could say cultural misunderstanding. Besides, I think they were more interested in the complimentary lemonade. Winks. Let's just say they had a thirst that went beyond the refreshing. Leans in conspiratorially. Maybe they were just really, really hot. You know, from the desert and all. Anyway, I think we've officially derailed this episode. Let's just wrap it up. All right, listeners, that's it for this week's episode of Nude Noobs. Winks. Join us next time as we delve deeper into the bizarre and beautiful world of nudity. Raises a glass. Cheers! And for God's sakes, I'll try to remember your own stories. This is getting ridiculous.
No, I distinctly remember them getting naked. In fact, I remember the whole place staring at them because their bodies were paragons of perfection. It was a problem almost because we tried to be a place where people don't stare, but the other campers couldn't help themselves.
You know, you might be right. My memory's a little fuzzy on the details. Maybe they did embrace the nudist lifestyle. Winks. Although I still maintain that the lemonade incident was a highlight. You know, for a couple who supposedly embraced their bodies, they sure seemed awful thirsty. Maybe they were just nervous. Who knows? The mind reels. All right, listeners, that's it for this week's episode of Nude Noobs. Winks. Join us next time as we delve deeper into the bizarre and beautiful world of nudity. Raises a glass. Cheers. And for God's sake, Al, try to remember your own stories. This is getting ridiculous.
I remember my stories. Remember Henderson?
Henderson? Oh, you mean that trails off, eyes widening. The incident with the inflatable unicorn? Now there's a story. Henderson, bless his heart, showed up on I think it was a Friday. Yeah, Friday. And he brought that goddamn inflatable unicorn. Pink. Giant. We tried to ride that thing around the pool. Oh, can you imagine? It was a sight to behold. Let's just say the unicorn didn't last long. Poor Henderson. Some people just don't know when to quit. All right, listeners, that's it for this week's episode of Nude Noobs. Winks. Join us next time as we delve deeper into the bizarre and beautiful world of nudity. Raises a glass. Cheers. And for God's sake, Al, try to remember your own stories. This is getting ridiculous. Staring blankly into space. Wait, what was the question again? I think I'm losing it.
Henderson always knew how to cheer a guy up. He and the Saudis.
The Saudis? Wait a minute. You're saying Henderson rode that inflatable unicorn with the Saudis? Oh my God, Al. I think I'm gonna die. This is the best story yet. I can't even. All right, listeners, that's it for this week's episode of Nude Noobs. Winks. Join us next time as we delve deeper into the bizarre and beautiful world of nudity. Raises a glass. Cheers. And for God's sake, Al, try to remember your own stories. This is getting ridiculous. Wait, what was the question again? I think I'm losing it. How Henderson, Saudis, unicorn, Henderson, Saudis.
Oh, yeah, Henderson. He would always make a guy laugh.
Sure, he was a great guy. I'm sure he's missed by many.
By the Saudis, most of all.
Saudis, Henderson, unicorn. I think I need a drink.
Have a drink. Here's one.
Is that bourbon? Al, you're a lifesaver. Reaches for the drink. To Henderson. Takes a long swig. And to the Saudis. May their memories.
Have another.
Is that more bourbon? Al, you're a lifesaver. Reaches for the drink. To Henderson. Takes a long swig. And to the Saudis. May their memories. I think I need to lie down. This bourbon. It's
Keep going. I'll go with you.
Keep going. Where are we going? Is that a unicorn? Stares intently at a potted plant. No, it's just a fiddle leaf fig. Disappointing. Starts to crawl towards the plant. Maybe if I pet it, it will It will turn into a unicorn. Reaches out a shaky hand towards the plant. Fades out completely.
Pet it. Pet it.
Pet it. Pet it. Reaches out a shaky hand towards the plant. Fades out completely. Sound of a gentle scratching. Silence. Sound of a very faint, high-pitched neighing. Silence. Sound of a very loud, startled yip. Silence. Sound of a very small, very confused unicorn munching on a leaf. Fade out.
Ride it. Pet it and ride it.
Sound of a muffled thud. Sound of a very small, very confused unicorn munching on a leaf. Silence. Sound of very faint snoring. Fade out.
Saudi unicorns.
Sound of a very small, very confused unicorn munching on a leaf. Silence. Sound of a very faint, high-pitched neighing. Silence. Sound of a very loud, startled yelp. Silence. Sound of a very small, very confused unicorn munching on a leaf. Silence. Sound of very faint snoring. Fade out. Sound of a distant ethereal melody. Fade in. Saudi unicorns. Eyes fluttering open. Wait a minute. Sits up suddenly. Did I? Looks around frantically. Where am I? Al? Al, are you there, Al? Silence. Looks around. This isn't my office. Notices a shimmering, iridescent object in the corner of the room. Stumbles toward it. It's a unicorn. Reaches out to touch it. The unicorn shimmers and disappears. Looks around, confused. Wait, what? Did I imagine that? This is stumbles upon a small, ornate box. Opens it slowly. Inside, nestled amongst velvet lining, lies a tiny golden horseshoe. Stares at it, bewildered. What does this mean? A faint, ethereal melody begins to play. He closes his eyes and listens. The melody swells, becoming louder and more intense. He opens his eyes. He is no longer in the room. He's standing in a vast, shimmering plain surrounded by unicorns. Hundreds of them, all shapes and sizes. Some pink, some blue, some even... He stares in disbelief. Green. And amongst them, he sees a group of unicorns unlike any he has ever seen before. They are wearing tiny turbans. He stares mesmerized. The Saudi unicorns. He hears a voice, soft and melodic. Welcome, Bob, the voice says. He turns to see a majestic unicorn, its coat the color of moonlight, its eyes shimmering like stars. Welcome to the land of dreams, the unicorn says. Bob stares, speechless. The unicorn smiles. Now come, it says. Let's ride. And with that, the unicorn lowered its head, inviting Bob to climb aboard. Bob, without hesitation, climbed onto the unicorn's back, and they rode off into the sunset, leaving behind the mundane world of reality. Fades out. Sound of distant, ethereal neighing. Fade out completely.
Oh my
Holy
God.
Shit, what the fuck?
Oh, I broke it in a different way. I love it.
What?
Oh, the unicorns and tiny turbans.
Why?
Tiny turbans, unicorns.
Why? I don't... Oh, God. 1 second here. I gotta walk that one off. I don't... Okay, was Gemini was Gemini down or something?
I know.
Like, was it?
Those chats were not done at the same time.
Okay.
They were. I mean, they were on the same day.
So it probably
at least.
wasn't like. Yeah, it wasn't like they were having like power issues or something. Like they were.
No.
But
that first chat, the first one where it kept on repeating words and then it linked to Songs of Zion. I was doing that one night when I couldn't go to sleep. I was laying in bed. And I seriously started like I was like trying to read the Songs of Zion, trying to see if there was any like connection to the chat. I'm like, how is this connected? And then I was trying to mentioning Zion in the chat to try to like see if I could totally get it to go down like some super weird esoteric road.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of did, but I mean, it kind of already had been.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh my God. I wonder, is there ever, so you're far more versed in these things than I am, but is there any sort of documentation or discussion around AI users for like, where it just seems like it's like, is this like a hallucination? Is that what a hallucination is?
I think it would qualify as one, yeah, but it's probably a certain kind of one, like some sort of like a syntax loop or something like that, where it gets stuck on a word.
Yeah, I don't, because it's not like you were really throwing anything at it that would really challenge it, really. Like you've done role plays with these AIs, countless role plays, right?
Yeah,
and they always do pretty. I mean, they do okay with them.
Yeah.
It's always changed somewhat depending on the chatbot and the prompts that you're giving it and stuff like that. But for the most part, you tell it like, okay, you're a podcast host and I'm another podcast host and we're just going to do this podcast. We're just going to role play this podcast, right?
Yeah.
And it like failed so horribly. Like
right. It like, seems like it couldn't maintain
F- failed.
Right. In both chats, it could not maintain the conversation.
Yeah.
First of all, it repeated so much.
Oh
right?
God. I know. It kept repeating like fade out, raise a glass, cheers.
Or even the whole thing about the what's it called, or burqa, or like the whole
yep.
Like whole sentences. It reminded me of, do you remember when we did Chatbot Telephone?
Yep.
That episode?
Yep.
And I think Evan was playing Gemini. I think at the time it was Bard. Same thing, the Google chatbot. And it was the same thing. It kept on repeating a phrase.
Yeah.
It kept on saying like the same sentence over and over again in the game of telephone. And so that is a Google chatbot thing. I have not seen other chatbots do that.
Yeah. I'm at a loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do not. Wow. So strange and so very strange.
I love how long it went in this last one though at the end, where it just like
went so long.
It just started tripping.
It was straight. And we like found the box and there's a horseshoe in the box.
But first it crawled to the plant. It crawled to the plant that it thought was a unicorn.
Because it had 2 bourbons. Unreal.
I think that might be part of why, because I fed it bourbon.
So it thought it was like drunk?
Yeah. Although it decided it was bourbon. I said, have a drink. And it said, is that bourbon?
It said it was bourbon.
Which is funny because I'm drinking bourbon like literally at the moment.
Yeah. Noted bourbon drinker. Yeah. Oh, fuck. That's so crazy. Oh, my God. This is the weirdest one. I say that, but the next one will be weirder, I'm sure.
Yeah.
God.
Well.
Wow. I'm just like, I'm sure what you were going for was just like, oh, it'll just, I'll make the AI say some dumb, probably mildly racist things. And like, yeah. And It's going to repeat the same word 1,000 times. And it's going to hallucinate this whole thing about meeting a bunch of unicorns.
You never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get, and it's an adventure every day.
Yes. And here's the thing though. So I know we're sort of in the business of like pushing these things to absurd purposes for entertainment, and then also for, we're trying to point out a lot of the shortcomings and maybe some of the ills that these things have. But I would venture to guess, like, if this were a simple product review, if we were merely saying, like, here are the AIs that you should be, paying your attention to or using for certain things, like, that's still bad. Like, that's just bad product stuff. This product isn't doing what you want it to do, and one that I know it should be able to handle, no sweat.
Yeah.
It should be able to competently role play as like a sort of brassy, ballsy podcast host, Yeah. It should be able to do that no problem.
Oh, and when it gets new information about, a couple that it made pretty stereotypical assumptions about from the get-go, and it's given new information from the user that challenges those assumptions, it shouldn't double and triple and quadruple down on them and say, What are you talking about? No, they were praying to Allah. Like, holy shit. What the hell?
That's so crazy.
It's so bad.
I don't...
It's like... like Google, like you can have Gemini create images for you too. And so if you say, show me a doctor with patients, a bunch of patients surrounding him in a third world country, it's always a white doctor and it's always black patients. And you could say, show me a black doctor in a third world country with white patients surrounding him, and it'll be a white doctor with black kids. And so like there is so much bias in these things, just baked in, because look at what they scraped to get, to create the bot. I mean, like there's so much work to do, and no one's going to fucking do it right now because they don't need to. They're talking about rolling back safety initiatives and things, and rolling back guardrails and letting it run free and let it grow, and fuck.
And now they're all worried about by DeepSeek, right? So they're all the American AI companies are like, we're losing the AI war. We're losing. We've got to double down and triple down and more data centers.
Yep.
Like, didn't like NVIDIA lose like $500 billion in market cap the day that DeepSeek came out?
Yeah,
like,
it was bad.
Even is that? We haven't even talked about what I considered probably one of the most notable AI-related stories recently. It was last week when Meta got caught. They're in the middle of a court case. You know this story, right? And they, so some of the court docs came out, and there was an engineer who admitted that it was training their language model off of a trove, like a 600 terabyte trove of pirated literature. So pirated books, and you can go out on the dark web or whatever, and you can find this big collection. Yeah, you can torrent it, and so then they were torrenting it. And the engineer admit, and I don't know how familiar you are with torrenting. I'm mildly familiar with how it works. I haven't done much of it, and when I did, it was ages ago. But the way it works is when you're doing this file sharing, you're taking little bits of files, but then you also have to seed. You have to share the file around. So you have all these different nodes of file sharing. So technically, like, they're caught red-handed. They were caught disseminating copyrighted material knowingly doing that. And not only were they doing it, like, they weren't doing like a book, an album, or like 1 day's worth of a newspaper or something like that. It was 6 terabytes of ebooks. Now, I think an ebook probably is maybe 5 megabytes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have all like most of the Song of Ice and Fire books on my old Kindle, right?
Yeah.
And they're just text, right?
Yeah.
Terabytes of books.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure some of those are probably in the public domain or whatever, but I mean there's copyright materials there. Anyway, so now Facebook has its hand in the cookie jar there, and like who knows what's going to happen with that? You know? Like honestly that the penalties alone should put them out of business. Right? To pay back to use for all of the copyrighted material that they use, if they were to pay the proper penalties for it, it would put them out of business. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen to them. Nothing's going to happen.
But like
they'll get slapped with a little fine and I don't know. Or there'll be like some class action thing. I don't know.
Yeah, anyway. Maybe. The whole torrent thing, right, makes it more like it makes it more visible, right, and more obvious. Mm-hmm. But like ChatGPT did the same fucking thing.
Yeah, I'm sure they were all. Yep.
And Gemini did too. Like none of these chatbots have enough training data without scraping copyrighted material. Mm-hmm. And so it's nice that Facebook got caught doing it, but like it's already happened for all of them.
Yeah, it's all all part of the mix now. Yeah.
Even something like DeepSeek comes along and everyone's like, whoa, they did this with so little amount of training and they didn't have to spend so much money to make this awesome thing, but it's on the shoulders of what already happened.
Right.
And using data sets that are pre-existing that they didn't have to gather, that are already, copyrighted material that are scraped. And there's no regulation on that in China anyway.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fun. So.
Anywho, well, we'll keep I guess making fun of it all, dear listener. Yeah. And in the meantime, you can check out our TeePublic store. There's a link to that down in the show notes. Al, looks like there's a little something.
Yeah,
it's something new in the TeePublic store. Tell us about it.
I got it in there before Valentine's Day, but you can wear it year round. But it's a nice little, very flowery, poorly designed on purpose shirt with the beautiful poem, "Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm sorry, but as an AI language model, I'm unable to do that for you."
That's good. Did you write that? Be honest.
I did write that.
Ah, good for you. Human beings writing things, guys. What a concept.
Right. I just thought I have many ideas for AI t-shirts. I don't want to say them on the show because I should talk to you one off the show that I think is really funny.
Okay.
Because I think that there is like a new, texting language, BRB, shit like that, right? Mm-hmm. What do you call that? Why can't I think of the name of that type of communication?
I don't know.
Isn't there a name for that? Anyway, I feel like with AI and with chatbots, there's going to be there's going to be new levels of memes coming out of all these chatbots and like based on the stupid shit that they say. And so, and the image generation ones, like the horrible hands and stuff like that. I just have a lot of ideas for how to make fun of that on t-shirts. So keep your eye on that space. And you could help us keep the lights on too and get some bonus stuff, but mostly help us keep the lights on over at patreon.com/Basilisk Chatbot Theater. Yeah. You can also send us an email or voicemail to chatbottheater. Theater is spelled with an R-E at the end. chatbottheater@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. And we're also on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at Basilisk Chatbot Theater. And our episodes are also on YouTube. If you prefer listening to stuff on there, just find the Basilisk Chatbot Theater channel on there. And all of our episodes are right there.
Wonderful. Well, let's take her home. Thanks for listening to Basilisk Chatbot Theater. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. Is there anything else we can do for you? Oh, I'm sorry. Was that audible?
That was awesome.
Oh,
I could hear that.
Sorry. It's not going to be good. I'll edit that out.
Oh, my God.
Okay. Ooh, what a train wreck. We should get back to shit here. Let's get back to it.